This is What a Week.
What a Week. Politricks.
Eta Dumelang, good morning, and all other protocols observed. Welcome to our What a Week hashtag Politricks with Fresh, Botsang, and you. Thank you for choosing us on this Saturday morning. If you're watching us on YouTube, but wherever else you may be on this planet, you are most welcome. This week, South Africa learned what accountability actually looks like in practice. It looks like resigning before the inquiry can finalize. It looks like an impeachment committee fighting back. It looks like a committee split down the middle on whether to fight back. And it looks like FIFA quietly putting the World Cup on the market while the whole continent finds out from the newspapers. The anti-corruption unit is now leaderless. The impeachment committee is interdicted. And the man who is supposed to be on trial in the court of public opinion is on a stage in Thohoyandou promising you clean streets. Nothing collapsed this week. And maybe that's the problem. Everything is working exactly as designed. So we will be fine. B.
Well, morning fresh. I wish it was Skeletor sitting there. Then I would have said, the news of getting morning gorgeous.
Yes, sir.
That's how we're going to be addressing each other.
No, but surely you can also call a guy gorgeous if you believe that work is gorgeous. Sometimes gorgeous has nothing to do with physical attributes.
With that jacket, that reminds me of early adulthood.
Yes.
You are gorgeous.
This is a jacket that I got in 1999 when Fubu used to dress me on Studio Mix.
Yeah.
Yes. So thank you to the Agliotti family for sponsoring my wardrobe.
Was it?
Studio Mix.
Oh, so Agliotti family owned Fubu?
No, I think Glenn's wife, either she was a partner or she owned the whole store. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Absolutely.
Is the wife still alive?
She must be. I don't know.
Maybe we must go and knock there for her to dress us on this platform.
What a sponsor, man.
Exactly. Our food, we can bring it back to the market.
For us, by us. Anyway, Madlanga, Idac, and the resignation that ended nothing. What's going on?
Fresh. I must start by first saying this was actually I only realized later. A lot has happened this week, even in my personal life and professional life, then the Madlanga Commission. A lot of civil servants, fresh, they started commenting on various platforms. There's a wake-up call. What happened at the Madlanga Commission with Advocate Andrea Johnson?
Yes, sir.
Her confessions, the things that came out of the way she conducted herself as the leader of Idac, or a state institution, the peddling of what I will blatantly call lies, because those were the ways that were used in the Madlanga Commission. It said a lot about people that the state appoints into critical state positions. And some of us have been victims of that. If you look at how we discussed it last week, how Brigadier Mukwele was treated after being appointed to that position in the police service, the lies that were peddled in the media, the fact that other people like Lieutenant General Kumalo were nearly arrested, the head of crime intelligence, were arrested and released, and they were nearly arrested again for appointing Mukwele based on lies, all these things based on lies. And it brings me back to a position where actually, when you sit as a civil servant or a former civil servant and you look at the testimony of Advocate Johnson, you start reflecting on what you personally went through.
Oh, yes.
At work, and it opens wounds. It actually says a lot about how many civil servants, and we talk as civil servants,
yes,
how many have been humiliated, abused. They're working under very stressful conditions. Civil servants are not paid a lot of money like people in the private sector. But you joined the civil service. I could have worked anywhere in the world for any company.
And made more money.
Understand? Not to say there is no stress in the private sector or in other international sectors. There is stress. But when you've got stress of being underpaid and overwhelming work because you serve the nation, and then you've got a boss or a leader that is behaving like somebody in the kindergarten, that is malicious, that is unethical. You can imagine what it does to you.
And often that is untouchable.
That is the biggest problem that, and look, I face it more than once, more than twice in the civil service, including from the diplomatic service, where you think things are professional.
Yes.
You've got very abusive ambassadors. I've seen it in from a government department of foreign affairs, or I've worked for government agencies. I've seen it in there. People who are appointed politically to be CEOs or to be DGs or to be commissioners, very abusive. And what came out of Madlanga Commission and I advocate Johnson, based on her confessions, on almost every paragraph that the commissioners read to her and to correct, she considered of the wrongdoing. She considered to fabricating information, acting unlawfully, charging people not only unlawfully but maliciously as well, and overstepping of Idac. And then boom, something that never happened, not in the history of President Ramaphosa's term in office, in the history of his entire life, acting on something in less than 5 hours.
Okay, but hold on. So last week, Saturday,
Yes.
I asked you if Advocate Johnson
Andrea Johnson.
must step down.
And I said she should.
And you said she must step down.
Yes.
So by Sunday, maybe she watched the show.
No, I'm telling you, all politicians watch this show.
Maybe she watched the show because the 26th of July, she asked to be released, and within 24 hours, she was released,
Yes.
waiving her 3-month notice period.
No. Actually, not only waiving a 3 months notice period, she even wrote a whole 2-page
To justify it.
motivation to justify why she must leave immediately.
Yes.
But she's flipping things around to say, for the image of Idac, she thinks she must vacate office. You can't vacate office when you have caused that entire damage to that office. Clean your mess first. But what is shocking is she submitted her resignation, I think, Saturday night or Sunday morning. By Monday morning, which was less than 24 hours, 3 bosses of Miss Advocate Johnson had approved a resignation with immediate effect.
But why is that a problem?
When you resign to the head of NPA, Advocate Mutibi.
Yes.
So that resignation went to Advocate Mutibi. He recommended it. Then it went to Minister Mamuluku Kubai as the Minister of Justice.
Sure.
She authorized and supported Advocate Mutibi. Then it went to President Ramaphosa on Sunday evening. By Monday morning, when people woke up, President Ramaphosa had approved that Advocate Johnson can leave office with all her benefits. She said she is 54, turning 55. She was going to retire. She had we must actually mention this. In her resignation, she mentioned that she had already applied for early retirement because you can retire at 55, which is provided for in the law. But in the middle of this whole saga, I still do not understand why President Ramaphosa would accept that resignation when we have a case in this country, fresh, that Advocate, the former public protector, what is her name, Ebususiwe Mkhwebane, was dismissed or was impeached because of a wrong judgment, because of not adhering to the law according to what they were saying, because of not adhering to the rulings of courts and directives of courts, and not following the act of the public protector's office. And she was impeached and she lost all her benefits. Now, actually, the Legal Practice Council is even threatening over removing her from the role of advocate. We have that went through Parliament and all that. Why is it exceptional that somebody who stands in front of the nation and an official commission stands up and say, I concede I did wrong, I broke the law, I acted ultra-virus, but please let me go and enjoy my pension and benefits? Why is it like that? Why is President Ramaphosa not placing Advocate Johnson, based on the outcomes of Madlanga Commission, place her on suspension like he did
or
with
precautionary leave?
Precautionary leave, whatever it's called.
But what do you guys want? When he applies his mind in 24 hours, you are complaining. When he takes his time to apply his mind, you complain. What do you guys want?
I'm not complaining. He applies his mind in 12 hours on wrong things, wrong decision. President Ramaphosa is wrong to accept Johnson's resignation.
So are you saying
with immediate effect.
So you're saying it should have been same energy as Advocate Mkhwebane?
As is provided for by the policy of government, by the labor laws of this country, and as it has been practiced with Mkhwebane, with Masemola at the moment, who's on suspension. You understand? The president normally, based on the information that, not only the president, any principal will say, I've received this information. Can you please make your own representations so that you can look at balance of probabilities to say whether I ignore these allegations or these representations and place you on suspension or not continue with your work. That's where we're supposed to be as a nation. Not to run away from the mess you have created, because there is no better way to use than that Advocate Johnson had acted ultra-virus, wrongly, unlawfully. She herself said, yes, it was and not once, many things. She acted outside the parameters of Idac Act, as well as unlawfully. Questions were put to her. Was it lawful what we have done? You know, the other thing with people are trying to protect the institution Idac because it is a quasi-replacement of the former Scorpions. However, it is not about Idac, the institution. At the moment, we are sitting in a situation where Idac head acted outside her mandate, and we let that person retire scot-free. Why is the same strength, same rules, same practices not applied to her as it was to Mkhwebane, as it is to Masemola, and many others in the public service who have been suspended, they made representations, and these investigations must take place. I'm sitting here fresh and having followed the Madlanga Commission this whole week, actually since last week, where I think Advocate Johnson was the person who was in Madlanga Commission more than anybody else. The number of days she spent there. Having have listened to her statement, the cross-examination, her confessions and all that, trust me, I think that lady should be arrested. She should actually be in police cells and face a number of both criminal and administrative charges. Masemola is sitting on a bail for criminal charges with criminals, like alleged criminals like Mr. Vusimusi Matlala, based on the actions of Idac led. And she stand up and say, no, we're not supposed to do that. We were wrong. What are the repercussions? What corrective measures? Is it a corrective measure to accept his resignation? Is it a corrective measure? Is it helping the process? Is it helping the state? You can't deny a person, but I think you can't, when a person says, I don't want to work here anymore, no matter what you do, you can't force them. But you can say, I'm holding your pension, I'm not releasing you from work, I am going to investigate your conduct. In the meantime, stay at home. You're on precautionary suspension or leave, whatever it's called. And I think that's what President Ramaphosa should have done. I'm not complaining about the speed that Mutibi, Kubai, and Ramaphosa they have acted. I wish they would act like this on many other occasions that are important for the nation. I wish they could. That speed. I'm not complaining about the speed. I'm complaining about the context and the manner they've handled this thing. Some people leave Madlanga Commission. Friday evening, they get picked up from home because of the confessions there. Why is it an exception with Advocate Johnson? Why is it an exception? And you can see the whole trail of wrongdoing. You can see her personal relationship, professional relationship, based on what came out there. The WhatsApp messages with General Khan. And what more do we want as a nation? What more do we want? And you know, it's a challenge that the law is applicable to some people and not to other people. And now many people were saying, Botsang, we know why you never had a lawyer representing you in your labor matter. Now we understand why you never stop fighting this battle with your leaders and all that. Because look at how a whole, you know, that the position of Advocate Johnson is like a CEO or a DG or a commissioner. It's at that level. But look at how they fabricated lies, how they destroyed people's careers, how they tinted people's images. Well, there's no coming back. I am happy that last week we spoke about Brigadier Mokwele. she is now taking legal action against South African Police Service. And you remember I said it last week when you asked me, is she supposed to sue Johnson? And I said, no, the first people Brigadier Mokwele is supposed to sue is the employer, South African Police Service, because they failed to protect her against the attack by Idac. Then Idac will be the supplementary or the secondary respondent, and she is taking them up on a civil lawsuit. And I think once we as civil servants and former civil servants, we start embarking on the route of not running away and looking for another job where you'll be abused again, we must take up this institution and sue them. Let the state feel the pinch, because what people will do, if you look at South African Police Service, they've got over $1 billion that they pay on wrongful arrest, wrongdoing, every month to civil claims. If we don't sue them more, the state, until Treasury says, but what's going on? Then they will stop doing this. They must start a process of reclaiming and recovering monies from people who have made wrong decisions.
Sure.
We must arrive at that stage as a nation.
So are you saying we need to reach a point where if there's an opportunity to prove that you're either negligent or malicious in your doing your job, then you personalized it.
Yes.
Therefore, you should be the one liable.
Absolutely. Fresh. Negligent, maybe one can legally argue it. But if you were unethical and malicious in doing your job, you did things with an intention, and you knew matters were before you, that what you are doing is wrong. Why should the state carry the burden of an individual malicious intention? Why should your taxes pay for the malicious decisions of Botsang towards Mr. or Mrs. X?
Okay.
So people who are in positions of authority and power, if they act maliciously, intentionally, and wrongfully, so knowingly, they must be held in their personal capacity about that, especially when there's evidence that these things were brought to their attention. Let me make an example. On Thursday morning at the Madlanga Commission, the next witness after Advocate Johnson, who has completed this week a testimony, it's Advocate Ramseni, who was one of the inspectors under Advocate Johnson. And she came and she rebutted everything, almost everything that Johnson said. This lady, I'm sorry, commissioners, she's not telling the truth. She says many inspectors like her, and she's an advocate as well, are very disturbed after listening to Johnson for almost a week. They're very disturbed with her testimony because she is not telling the truth. She says if the commission and investigation and inquiry can be conducted, they will find material evidence on how Advocate Johnson was a flip-flopper. She actually, in the commission, asked the commissioners if she's allowed to, can use the words that they use in the office in reference to their boss. And she said they used to call her a knee-jerk flip-flopper.
Yeah.
Now, if your team of inspectors, who are senior police officials, investigators, auditors, and researchers, are regarding you as a knee-jerk decision maker or a flip-flopper, you can imagine what kind of an institution were they running. And you see, that's where the problem comes also when you have people with power. Look at how educated these people are, like I'm saying. And they've been going through this, the suffering I spoke about at the beginning. And they kept quiet until the Madlanga Commission. When would we have known that these people are working under duress, pressure, flip-flopping, and all the wrong things? And it begs me to start questioning ourselves: are the labor laws just? Are they protective to employees? Because if they were, why would people be afraid to take leadership or management of institutions up? Why would not junior people, senior managers be afraid to question the conduct of their political appointees? For me, it says either they don't trust the system, or the laws are not tight enough to can protect those who report to the unethical leaders.
Sure.
But look, I've been in the system. I so far trust the system. The only thing I don't like about our system is it takes time, it delays.
Sure.
But I trust the system, I trust our laws.
Sure.
They just need somebody to jack them up and to act on them. And I think a lot of civil servants and people in the police service and Idac, they've been too quiet with the nonsense happening in the they knew these things. They've just been too quiet and they suffered in pain.
But is it generally not the issue with most industries, where some bosses will have an attitude of impunity and you can't touch me?
It does. It's a general buzz, but we allow it fresh. Because if you don't allow it, the majority of the because people are afraid they will lose a salary.
Absolutely.
Understand? The majority of the people, understandably so. But it also says to me the kind of leadership that the government or political parties deploy. Because that's what I'm questioning. The laws are there, the rules are there, the guidelines are there. The kind of leadership that and I'll talk about the public service mainly because I've worked for the private sector once in my life, and I was working for the guy who was my direct line manager was the owner of the company. Okay. But in the public service, it's that's normally the case, but it's also political appointments. People belonging to political parties. You understand? I mean, I vividly recall in Parliament when Julius was it Julius? No, it was a press conference. And Julius Malema was saying, when he was asked by the late Sidi Madia, may so rest in peace, about his relationship with General Khan. And Julius Malema said, no, I know Khan from the ANC. That's the guy I know easily from the ANC. So even in the police service where you are not allowed to be aligned to a political party, the government still went and appointed somebody who was directly known to be a political activist for a political party. Julius says it, not me. And that's why these things happen, because he felt protected politically. But it's sad, that's what destroys the public service.
Sure.
It's because we are having leaders who, or commissioners or CEOs or DGs who are sitting there saying, I'm here to serve my political party, or I'm deployed by my party. I don't care what you are saying. I will do what I want. But it's something that some of us are prepared, to be sacrificial lambs.
Absolutely.
And fight that impunity and system.
Sure. Yeah. Let's move to Parliament. Impeachment committee fights back. So last week, Friday, 24th July, the Western Cape High Court granted President Ramaphosa interim interdict, stopping the Section 8 and 9 committee from holding public impeachment hearings until his review of the independent panel report is decided. It was a split bench, Judges Davis and Lagrange for the President and Judge Matthew Francis dissenting. The review is set down for 2 to 4 September, right?
Yes.
Now, on Wednesday, the 29th, the committee resolved to appeal directly to the Constitutional Court, and Member of Parliament Ghana of Rise Mzansi confirmed it was a split decision. Most opposition parties argued the ruling guts Parliament's oversight power and creates a precedent, letting any office bearer litigate their way out of accountability. The ANC and the Freedom Front Plus and the Patriotic Alliance opposed the appeal, saying the interdict is temporary and the committee should get on with preparatory work. And I tend to agree with, it's temporary. Wait, why can't you wait? Because now we're blowing money running around for something that in a couple of weeks we'll have a clearer way forward, surely.
I'm a politician now, so I must talk like what?
Yes, and we must disclose that you are...
action as a MLC candidate.
Yeah. Absolutely. But I agree with the ANC, the Freedom Front Plus and the PA.
We discussed it last week.
Yes.
And I said, I know this is going to run forever based on history and based on the rights that President Ramaphosa has legally. However, I'm surprised that Freedom Front Plus, wow, somebody must have abstained because there are 32 members in that committee and only 14 voted in favor of let's challenge this. And I'll come why the Constitutional Court. I'll come to that. But those 14, obviously, it's Zangula, ATM, it's probably EFF, Controversy is a party, and members of the GNU. I wonder where's the DA there? How many of the people abstained? Nonetheless, if 14 ruled in favor, then it means we still have 14 plus 18. There's 18 others who said no. Now, Fresh, look at it this way. You will say it's a waste of money to appeal and what. I think what the impeachment committee should have done first, and I read the report after our last week's episode, they should have first ascertained if this ruling stops them from doing administrative work and preparatory work.
Yeah, they can prep in the background.
Yeah, they can prep in the background. I think that's what they must do. But I think it's a matter of principle. And I know why they're doing this.
Also, it mustn't seem like you've just rolled over and
You just roll
died.
over. Yes, that's one. Why in this instance you don't challenge, you don't appeal? The second part is very important. They are legal advisors, and those committee members who applied for this appeal to the Concord, they know what I explained last week. They know that it's not going to end in September. They know that if in September President Ramaphosa loses the review, he will appeal the decision.
So are you saying this is more preemptive?
They are being preemptive, they are being proactive.
Okay.
And as I said, they know that, and I explained it last week. If the court in September rules against President Ramaphosa to say not your interdiction, your review of Section 89 report is dismissed,
Yes.
or you don't have the grounds, let the impeachment process start. President Ramaphosa can. The law makes provision for him to can appeal the September decision. Now, I explained last week that process of appeal, we are going to elections. Parliament is going on recess. It may enter next year. So this committee is being preemptive to say, in order to avoid further delays that may take years, let us take this matter on appeal.
Okay.
And the first option, if you appeal a matter from a high court, you go to an appeal court. What do they call it? That court in Bloemfontein, Supreme Court of Appeal. They jump that court. They go straight to the Constitutional Court. Very strategic and good move by Parliament or this committee.
Okay.
That is not supported by the Speaker. The Speaker is sitting back.
No, but the Speaker said, I'm going to let you get on with it.
The Speaker is on a cruise. They put this thing on cruise control and go and do what you do. Why the Constitutional Court, and why is it a good move? Because remember, this challenge is challenging a Constitutional Court directive
In the
or
first place.
order in the first place. So they are going, let's go to the highest court. Let the highest court of the land decide. I'm just afraid that the Constitutional Court, I hope they've crafted their papers so well why the Concord. Because if they did not, the Constitutional Court may come and say, you should have went to the appeal court, why come here straight? Because they've done that before.
They've done that before.
Yes.
You must go to a lower court first.
You must, not necessarily you should, but it's recommended. You go to the Constitutional Court or the apex court directly if you can prove constitutionality of this, how this decision is impacting on the constitution of the country. It is impacting on the constitution of the country because it is interfering with the constitutional obligations of a parliamentary committee. That's what makes it constitutional. There is a very clear directive, very clear instruction, very clear rules on the roles of parliament and its committees and subcommittees. They believe that the ruling of the Western Cape High Court is interfering with the constitutional obligation of parliamentary work. And that's why and on that leg, I think they're on the right track.
Sure.
But I like it because it will save us time. It will save President Ramaphosa time. When this decision is made, I hope the Concord will sit, if it's an urgent application, in the next week or two and make a decision on this. Then we can move forward as a nation. But let me tell you, based on experience, maybe things are changed. Maybe the wheels are running differently. But based on experience, we must brace ourselves for a very long trial.
I was going to say, if the review succeeds in September, does the impeachment die or does the process simply restart?
If the impeachment succeeds,
If the review
succeeds
Yes.
in September, it means then the Section 89, the Justice Madlanga and the team he was with, when they did this report. Remember, they're taking the report on review.
Yes.
Because that review has been declared null and void or erroneous, go and correct it. So a new process will have to start.
So realistically, is there any timeline on which this inquiry concludes before Ramaphosa's term ends? Realistically.
I doubt. I doubt. Realistically, look, first it will take another 6 to 8 months if the review succeeds. 6 to 8 months to conduct another report. Who is going to do it? Is it going to be another Section 89, or there's another option? The parliamentary committee, impeachment committee, may actually start the process directly, because remember, President Ramaphosa is still liable to Parliament. They don't have to go and what you call and start another commission of inquiry, Section 89 commission of inquiry. Let them take the bull by its horns, but we know what's going to happen there. The ANC is going to use its majority in that committee and be supported by members of the GNU, like Freedom Fund Plus and the Patriotic Alliance, to defend President Ramaphosa. So if the impeachment, and I can freely tell South Africans and the world this, if President Ramaphosa is going to succeed in September with the review, I know, forget about this palapalata. He'll leave the office before it ends. He will. That I can tell you. It's and because of time frames, not because he has won or he's not right or he's wrong. Not because of that. Because of the time frames. And as in September 2026, President Ramaphosa will be left with exactly 3 years in office.
Yes.
If you recall, 2 years in office. We are not going to see this happening in 2 years if the review of Section 89 succeeds. I don't think it's going to happen. But again, our constitutional court and is being put to test.
Yeah, but also he's playing the game according to what is allowed. So
He's allowed.
He must exercise his rights.
Yes, he's exercising his right. He's allowed. He's allowed legally. Politically, it's unethical what he's doing. Legally, he's allowed. But politically, the ticket he gave us, I will forever mention the ticket that President Ramaphosa gave us when he came to office, the Tumamina ticket, the clean administration. The people will be charged. The people will be the speedy turning of the wheels of justice. Those were his words. Now the same person is looking at exercising his legal right. He's exercising his constitutional right. He's exercising his legal right, fair and square. But politically, he is acting against his own political statement that he sold us as a nation. And it's a sad step. That's how politics work.
Sure.
You know, I sit here today and promise the world, and when I get into office, I do the opposite. Or I pull a handbrake, because that's what President Ramaphosa is doing. There's commissions, there's people arrest. There was a lot of things that he did towards prosecuting those who were implicated in crime, but not only prosecuting. The monies that were recovered by the SIU, an asset forfeiture unit, due to the previous commission, the Zondo commission, amounting to billions of rands. Those things have been happening. The media is not reporting a lot on them.
Sure.
However, when it comes to him to can speed the wheels of justice, he pulls a handbrake. Well, cars don't have handbrakes these days. They are called parking brakes.
Many would argue politics is a massive train anyway, so brakes or not,
it will crush you.
It moves.
Yeah.
Sure. Let's move to FIFA putting the World Cup on the market.
Yes.
So Tuesday, 28 July, FIFA confirmed it will create FIFA Forward Enterprise, a wholly owned subsidiary valued at about $20 billion, bundling its commercial and event operations, broadcast sponsorship, ticketing, licensing. It will sell up to 20% to outside investors to raise as much as $4.2 billion. JP Morgan is advising Thrive Eternal, a fund out of Joshua Kushner's Thrive Capital. Joshua Kushner is Jared Kushner, who is Trump's son-in-law's brother. Or is it? Yeah, Joshua Kibrahim.
Yeah.
They're expected to lead. Kushner's brother Jared is Donald Trump's son-in-law. FIFA insists it retains sole control over governance, competitions, and the calendar, and that investors get no operational role. Bigger than that, is that each of FIFA's 211 member associations is offered $20 million immediately, available from the 1st of January 2027, plus a further $20 million across the coming World Cup cycle. 14 million in total.
Yeah.
Infantino has set 19 September as the deadline to say yes. For me, this sounds like a play from the Trump book of how to negotiate a deal, how to put people into a corner, and how to almost make people feel like you can either say yes or you can say yes.
Yeah. Fresh.
There's only two options here: say yes or say yes,
Look.
or suffer the consequences.
Yeah,
because that's what this smells like.
Yeah, it's exactly that. Fresh. Let me tell you, Donald Trump is actually giving the world a middle finger to say, I'm an astute businessman. I'm going to use politics to enrich myself, those around me and the family, and I'll use any other means available.
Yes.
Whether it's wrestling, whether it's cage fighting, whether it's football, anything, any golf, whatever, airlines, hotels, tourism. He's using anything under the sun to enrich himself. Those who have helped to put him in power, he has already announced that he's going to run for third term.
Imagine.
Now, he's not halfway. The first term, remember they are going on midterm elections or voting in November. He has not reached midterm of the current. He has already announced that he's going to come back on the third term in 2028. Now, Fresh, you know, Infantino is behaving like a little Trump's infant, actually. Look at the pace that Infantino is acting upon, while people are still complaining about the way America conducted itself during the FIFA World Cup, the way FIFA itself is you know, there's appeals from Switzerland, other countries, and complaints, the way FIFA conducted itself during the 2026 World Cup. We're in the middle of that. Boom. He diverts attention from what happened during the FIFA World Cup 2 weeks ago to say, while you are still arguing, I'm selling 20% of a stake here. To who? Donald Trump himself, one of the investors, Donald Trump's son-in-law, and many other people around their own cycles. You will see how countries in the Arab League that are very close to the US, and including Israel, they are going to buy into those shares of FIFA for advertising, marketing, as well as commercial rights or TV rights. And that's what Infantino and Donald Trump are doing. They are actually capturing the entire FIFA process. And more this makes me say, what are the Asian and African countries doing? Okay, Africans, we know they are puppets. But why don't they organize themselves and organize, like we have the Commonwealth Games? Okay, they're based on colonialism and Britain and its former colonies.
Yes, the British Empire.
Yes, but I am just demonstrating that the Commonwealth Games, which are running at the moment, coincidentally, have been running independent of all other world, athletics committees and bodies in the US, because they are not part of the Commonwealth countries. Why wouldn't the Asian Soccer League, some East European and African countries that are ethical, that are doing sport for sport? Yes, sport is business. The people must be paid, the sponsors, the players, yes. But if politics are going to actually abruptly abuse sport and put politics into, we are not going to enjoy sport anymore.
UEFA said the plan crosses a line football's governing institutions should never ever cross, and accused FIFA of selling the soul of the game. CONCACAF and the AFC both said publicly they learnt about it from news reports. CAF confirmed it has received FIFA's correspondent and will consult African member associations before taking a position, with President Motsepe convening an executive committee meeting to assess it. But Motsepe, the other day, the presser said that Infantino is my friend and he's a friend of Africa, and he's pro-development in Africa. So I will never stab a person that supports us in the back.
In the back, yeah.
Yes.
I don't see based on that statement, I don't see President Motsepe and the toothless CAF, I don't see them going against Infantino. I don't at all, Fresh. They've pumped so much money into CAF. They're controlling. They even influence who should lead CAF. They get involved. If you have a policy position and you are principled, you don't have to wait to consult. I don't say don't be democratic, don't consult other leaders before you communicate. I prefer what UEFA has done. I'll tell you why. There are rules and regulations. There's policy position of CAF, of UEFA, of the Asian Football Federation. What President Motsepe and CAF should have done after acknowledging the letter in the press statement, they could have also, the fact that they are silent in communicating what is the CAF position on such. At the moment, as it's at the moment, you see what UEFA has done. UEFA has, they're even saying they're selling the moral fiber of what.
In fact, UEFA have been up in arms since the Americanization of this first World Cup.
Yes. Yeah. They are stating their official current position. CAF should have stated what is the position of CAF at the moment. Yes, we are going to consult to consider and will come with a final answer. But the position of CAF at the moment, what is it in selling a stake of FIFA to business people, not even to countries? You know, if FIFA was saying, let member associations, for example, SAFA, buy a stake of this. And I said, it will be a different ball game. But in this, they want to sell to private business investors commercially. So you're commercializing the whole body against its own old historical position. By the time Infantino leaves that office, FIFA will be destroyed. It will no longer be the flavor of international soccer and football that it has been before we were born. And it's a sad state of affairs that we find ourselves, that we have allowed President Trump to actually mess up the world. And immediately after FIFA game, he started rebombing Iran, attacking Iran. Guess what? It didn't end there. Yes. Something that probably slipped many people's heads. Do you know that President Trump last week and the Americans issued a statement and asked all member states of the ICC to leave the ICC, International Criminal Court? Guess which country left first? Chad from Africa.
Yes.
They were the first to leave. I wish South Africa would have left first, because we've been complaining about that useless ICC that was targeting East European and African leaders or dictators.
But you know, we can complain all we want about the ICC, but we opted in.
Yeah.
You can't opt into a club and then complain when the club does what the club does.
We should have
when you
left.
knew exactly what the club does. and the minute the biggest aggressors on the planet did not opt in, that should have been the sign that you want to opt into this thing.
Yes. That should have been the sign.
So we can kick and scream all we want. We opted in.
But now is Trump interfering on FIFA affairs. The ICC is back at attacking Iran amid, the agreement that was signed before the World Cup or during the beginning of the World Cup. And certainly that's how imperialism works. The imperialists, they go, they destabilize, they come and say we are investing or repairing the mess we have caused, then they take over.
Sure.
And that's what happened. Trump, as a business person, was very smart in pushing for FIFA to conduct itself the way it conducted itself during the FIFA World Cup, especially in the US where the finals were played. And it was a takeover. It was a strategic takeover. But again, many bodies, many heads of institutions, whether it's FIFA, whether it's, and I'll talk about SAFA because I'm a South African, they allowed this. And they allowed this. We are allowing this to happen in front of our eyes. These are some of things that feeds revolutions. Revolutions are not just a war with guns. When people rebel and revolt against a system, and some of the things that are happening now are going to make other people to start revolting.
Sure.
UEFA is already showing. I don't know if they've got a backbone to can say to FIFA, you know what, we are not interested in your mess. Because if you look at football, UEFA is more exciting and more followed than the FIFA World Cup. When you look at football itself, I would, if I have to compete between watching FIFA World Cup. It's just that they can't clash. And the UEFA competitions, they are more exciting as a person who likes sport.
Sure.
But now FIFA has been politicized. If UEFA says we are not going with this thing, we'll run our own thing, let CAF do the same. Let the Asian Federation do the same.
Now, each of FIFA's 211 member associations have been given until 19 September as the deadline to say yes.
What is it, about 2 months? Yeah.
Because obviously we're pushing for a yes vote. So, failing which, you get reduced funding.
Yes.
If member associations that vote no face reduced funding, in what sense is this a vote then? Surely it's not a vote then. You're literally
It's manipulating.
You're blackmailing people.
Yeah, you are blackmailing me. You are blackmailing me to say, vote for me or else I'll reduce funding. It's politics. People can call it business. It is how politics work. Business is politics. You have been funding. It's like the Oppenheimer family are funding 5-6 political parties. And I looked at the margins of how much they are funding each. And this is based on political parties declaring in parliament. I was surprised the ANC is not on that list of the top 5 by the Oppenheimers. Now, if the Oppenheimers say to one of the political parties they are funding to say, toe this line or behave this way or withdraw the money, now you are dependent on that money. The biggest benefactor of the Oppenheimers is the Democratic Alliance. That's the number 1 on the list. If they say you're going to join the GNU and work proper with Ramaphosa of the ANC, or else we are reducing the funding, the DA will go, because without that 50 million per year, how will they survive? How will they pay staff? That is blackmailing, that is manipulation, and that shows how...
It's lobbying.
Or lobbying for what? Why would the Oppenheimer family want to lobby?
No, because you're cultivating democracy. That's why you must fund the smaller parties so that they have a better chance of competing and diversifying the space. So it's cultivation of democracy.
If you want to cultivate democracy, form a political party, join democracy, don't fund it. Why doesn't the Oppenheimer family form a political party to do that?
Because we're doing what we're good at. And we're saying to the others who are good at what they do that, listen, in the interest of democracy, we need everyone to have a fighting chance. So why not?
Oppenheimers, can you fund this democratic, democratic podcast? We need money. If that's the case, let them fund this podcast. So I think Infantile is destroying FIFA fresh, but it's going to be said, look, there will be benefactors. Some of the benefactors, if there is justice in this and fairness, it's going to be the players, because there'll be more money.
Yes.
There'll be more money of what goes into the pockets of individual players. The awards will have more money. If you've got a golden boot, money may be tripled because business is in, but it destroys the nucleus of what sports exist for.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's my fear. All because of Donald Trump and his infant named Infantino.
Before we wrap up, as we are recording this right now, the EFF and Julius Malema are literally about to start a press conference in 5 minutes. Yeah, in 5 minutes. Let's speculate quickly. What do you think Juju is going to talk about?
I already speculated last night when they announced it. Let me tell you. Remember, one of them, there's 2 or 3 reasons why Julius has called this press conference.
Also, I need to make a disclosure. Sometimes Juju gives me gigs for some of the events that they do. So I just need to disclose that for the record.
Yeah, well, you are a businessman, he's a politician. So, yeah, fresh. One is probably to announce strategically and also to divert attention. He may be doing this from, remember, his name has been mentioned in the Madlanga Commission.
Okay.
He is being said to say the Madlanga, I don't have material evidence and confirmation that Madlanga Commission had summoned him to come and appear. I've heard that, but I haven't confirmed. To divert attention from that, he may be announcing his mayoral candidates and what, and strategy towards the local government elections. I'm here to deliver politics. That's what Julius may do. And the party is focusing on the coming elections. Rumors, rumor mongering, me as Julius, I'm not interested in that. He may do that. The second part is, because he has been mentioned, because he was mentioned, through his relationship with Khan and Advocate Johnson, he may be trying to what do you call it when you want to manage affairs and public perception, because there is already a perception. Do you recall during the ad hoc committee engagements when Advocate Johnson was in Parliament and Julius Malema sang her praises about the way she conducted herself in office? Now, Julius Malema is somebody that we know is not afraid to speak. If something is wrong about corruption and maladministration and people doing wrong in the office, he will naturally go for those people.
Yes.
If he defends like the way he defended Advocate Moiloa. Advocate Moiloa even joined the EFF. Julius was very vocal. But there's one thing that he plays very nice. He plays clean politics when he's convinced that something is clean. The fact that Julius went in front of televisions and cameras and ad hoc committee and sang Advocate Johnson praises to say, oh, I've learned something from you. You have planted a seed in me. I'm now cleverer than before I came here. You are doing a good job at Idac. And Winnie Mandela is multiplied. You know, he referred to her as the new Winnie Mandela is multiplying. And Advocate Johnson was, I receive, thank you. Now it has become that this lady, she is nothing, nowhere even a quarter of Winnie Mandela. Winnie Mandela must be turning in her grave that actually Advocate Johnson, who has acted and behaved unethically, immorally, and unlawfully, to be compared to Nomzamo Madikizela Mandela. Now I think Julius is going to manage perceptions and optics. And you know, if I was him, a smart politician will come and say, I was misled, then you kill the story. I was misled. I was basing it on what she presented. Because another thing that came out of that ad hoc committee, that's why controversies were party have laid criminal charges against Advocate Johnson. She lied under oath. Now she confessed at the Madlanga Commission that her statements and input at the ad hoc committee was a lie. Now, what happens when you lie under oath? When you lie in front of the parliamentary committee? We know that at the moment, Parliament is pursuing the former road accident fund, former CEO, Collins Letwalo, because he's refusing to cooperate with them. Is Parliament going to pursue Advocate Johnson for lying under oath? And remember, part of appointing Advocate Johnson or a person in that position, it has a parliamentary process as well before it goes to the president.
Yes.
So I think Julius is going to manage those optics, those perceptions, and explaining himself. I won't be surprised if he's smart to say he misled us, he lied. But sometimes it's very difficult to betray and turn against your friends.
Yes.
Because it's clear to me that there's a link between Khan, Julius, and Johnson. That's the first part. The other part is fresh. It was Julius Malema, months ago, who said to us as a nation, I know there's a warrant of arrest by Idac for Masemola, the police commissioner. That was before the 6th of July. And Julius Malema said, you know, some of us, we listen and we have good memory. It was Julius Malema who said, he knows there's that warrant of arrest. He knows it comes from Idac, and he does not know why Masemola is not yet arrested and charged. And he went further to say he thinks Mkhwanazi on the 6th of July, Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi on the 6th of July, to have that press conference, he was diverting attention of his commissioner and friend to be arrested. Those were Julius's words. You know, say it was a preemptive, diversion of attention. What preemptive? Julius Malema is saying that he was actually preemptive that we should not know about his relationship with Khan. He was preemptive that we should not know about his relationship with his Winnie Mandela, in inverted commas. He was preemptive that if these things goes to a commission, if Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi's allegations, which have become an absolute truth now, come out, his name will be implicated about not in corruption, cartels and what, but about his relationship with the alleged criminal cartels, including General Khan. I think he was being preemptive, not Mkwanazi. And that's my opinion on why Julius was doing all this. He was being preemptive. The chicken have come home to roost. Issues are on the public space. His name keeps on popping up. And this is not, in my opinion, a general relationship that Julius has with Khan and with Johnson. It's not a general relationship. It's not a normal, I met him at ANC. No, where did, if I was a probing person, the day Julius Malema sits in front of the Madanga Commission or any inquiry, he must now tell, as a public leader and a political office bearer, he must now come and tell us, where did he know or get information that General Masemola was going to be unlawfully and illegally charged and arrested?
Yes.
Because it is to the public interest now. It's not like a journalist saying, no, I can't disclose my sources. No, these are not sources. This was abuse of power by civil servants and a political office bearer. They abused the power. We are sitting with the police commissioner on suspension now. We are sitting with the police commissioner standing next to alleged criminal cartels in court. He's on bail. It's not just on suspension from work. He's on bail. Based on what? On what Julius said.
Sure.
On what Johnson did.
Sure.
And I want to see how fast is President Ramaphosa going to bring back Masemola to work. Because now the truth is, the one who got Masemola suspended based on lies. And did you see what Idac did? I want to hear Julius saying, now that Advocate Mutibi of the NPA has released a statement to say, I am not going to charge General, Kumalo anymore. And anybody who wants to reinstate those charges must come via my office. And therefore, there's no charges against Kumalo. I want to see the same happening to Masemola.
Sure.
And I've said it fresh on this platform to you. I've said it many times. Show me one civil servant who has made wrong judgment, wrong decisions, anti the Public Finance Management Act. One who is facing criminal charges and not administrative discipline. One. There's nobody. Masemola is the first. General Masemola is the first person. And it's an allegation, remember, that he may have done wrong. But now he's being charged criminally. Where has that ever happened? Advocate Johnson himself said it's wrong what we did. This matter had nothing to do with Idac because they are, as the name says, corruption. Administrative mistake, making a wrong decision. How many DGs have made the wrong decisions against the PFMA and CEOs and commissioners of government entities? How many? Not even one has faced even an administrative charge. Instead, they will redeploy you. They'll move you from being the DG of transport, you become the DG of housing. They'll move you from being the head of corporate services at a certain embassy to become back home and become a deputy minister in MEC. That's what they do. They recycle this corruption and maladministration, but it's for certain people only.
Yes.
And yeah, let's hear what will Julius say. But it's very bad for him. And I'll tell you why in conclusion, why also Julius fell into this trap. Not because he's corrupt or he's part of a corrupt cartels. For many years, politically, Julius had information prior to many people, prior to journalists.
Or leaks.
And it's because people were feeding him with information. I was saying to Keleto and Trevor Zondi earlier on before we started the show. Now that I'm in politics, it started happening with me. People are leaking and sending me information unsolicited.
Oh, yes.
Some from other political parties to say, hey, yes, info that you can run with it. But I am trained and I'm careful enough not to fall into a trap, including a honey trap.
Oh, yes.
I'm very careful and I'm well trained in that to say, when info comes to me, the first thing I ask, why do you think I deserve this information? So Julius was accustomed to be given leaks, and he looked shiny in the public space because he will have press conference and tell us things before they happen. And it happened for such a long time that he got accustomed to that practice. Now he stopped testing the validity and the authenticity of the info that was given to him. He got excited and he started running with that information, and look at where we are now. He's sing praises to Johnson, his friendship with Khan, his dining with Khan's friends and family, his knowledge of Masemola prior arrest. Look where it has put him and us now, because he stopped testing the information from his traditional sources. Anything that was exciting and breaking news, he ran with it to the media. And I think it takes a very special person to know that not information that comes to you, it's proper information. And you must go and test it. If you can't find result, don't use it. Don't go public with it before you test it. And that's sad, because Juju is a very bright, good young politician. Well, good in a sense of a person, not as a politician. Because there's no good politician in this world, including me. There's nothing good about working in a lying environment. But yeah, and sadly, we will hear Fresh.
Sure.
It's a wait and see situation.
All right, now we are out of time.
Thank you, Fresh. I must run as well.
Where do we find you online, sir?
botsangm@gmail.com, and you can WhatsApp me on +2783 884 7787. And let's also chat, at the bottom of the show, comments and engage, and at Botsang on all social media handles.
Sure. Thank you, B.
Thank you, bro. Is the election weekend, bro?
Oh, yes, yes.
So I am.
If you are not registered to vote yet for the local government elections, or you have a 17-year-old who will be 18 before the end of the year, please make sure they register and impress upon them why it's important that they participate in the democracy. And even if they don't want to participate, at least get them on the voters' roll.
Yeah, look, let every parent, every adult, make sure the youth explain to them how important it is. It is for their own future to vote, to participate. But another thing, this weekend, when it ends, is the last voter registration weekend. However, the online one, it is still, and this is another important information, it is still open until the
date is gazetted. No?
The gazetting of the election.
Then everything closes.
Then it's closed. Then after the president gazettes, and there's a term they used, a declaration process, after it's done, we can't even change your voting wards or register to vote for the local government election. So it will be important for people to register to participate in the democratic process of the country, especially the youth. They consist of a huge margin and percentage of potential voters. And this is their country, this is their future. We are Madalas.
Absolutely.
We have lived our lives here.
We're done. Another episode of Wow What a Week, #Politricks in the bag. Coming to you from Discover TV, let them be your stage. Shout out to Kiletso Mudisakeng, our executive producer, Trevor and his crew at Pezulu Works for all of the cinematography, but most importantly, you for being a part of this. Please comment, keep the conversation going in the comment section, share the links, subscribe. And we'll see you again next week. Don't forget, we're part of the Africa Podcast Network, and you can email us at waw@africapodcastnetwork.com. Until next week. Have a wow week in spite of yourselves. We're out of here.